Welcome to Talkin Shop. We're coming to you live from the Dick Clark Studios in the SI Newhouse School of Public Communications over here in Syracuse, New York. This is Talkin Shop, your source for all things hip-hop, local and national. We're going to kick off the show. I'm Jake Delforty.
My name is Emmett Milberg.
And it is Friday, March 22nd. We had a big drop at midnight, and we're going to dive right into it. That would be We Don't Trust You, the new Future album entirely produced by Metro Boomin.
Yes, sir. I don't know about you, but this was insane to me. I think I would honestly argue that this might be better. I'm already forgetting it. What was the last one? The one with Years on the Plane sleeping. I Don't Like You? Was it that? Huh? I Never Liked You.
I Never Liked You.
Might be better. Honestly, I think it has less, hit potential, like we were talking about earlier off camera. There's less, big hits, potentially, but just in terms of pure quality, this was insane to me, front to back.
That's what really stood out to me when I was listening to it. Usually I'm not the biggest kind of Future guy, but as I was going through this album, there weren't a lot of skips for me, and that kind of is a big thing for me when I'm listening to more of a Future trap style album.
Yeah, no, I mean, that intro was it was cinematic, but it was smooth as hell. It wasn't too it was hard. It wasn't too hard hitting. It kind of just got you into the world.
I was gonna say that intro track and same title as the album, We Don't Trust You. I thought it was a really strong theme setter for the album, and like you said, it really kind of just it brings you into that muddy world.
Yeah, it's
Future.
The supervillain. He's that's how I feel that's how we all view Future now. Is rap supervillain, but we like him because he's fire. But yeah, and then. Second track was it kind of just felt like that, but then just energy turned up a level.
Sure.
And then it's just a ride from there on out.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, that second track, Young Metro, into Ice Attack. Ice Attack was crazy with
the beat switch.
The beat switch in the middle. Oh my god. Listen to that if you haven't yet.
Yeah.
You don't know when it's coming, but that beat switch, it'll hit you and it's just like a Mike Tyson just whoa.
Crazy. And I don't want to skip over The Weeknd's background vocals in Young Metro.
Oh, yes.
Thought that was really cool. Love to see that relationship continue with Weeknd and Future and Weeknd and Metro. They both have really good songs together, but that was really cool use of The Weeknd.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and then that
one of those
beat switch.
Big three of today's kind of modern hip-hop world of Metro, Future, and, The Weeknd. I don't think those three, when they're together... Have they all been on the same track before like that?
No, they've obviously all collaborate, but
I was gonna say, when they each do it individually, they don't usually miss.
I mean, unless the songs... Wait, hold up. No, because either Low Life or Coming Out Strong, I feel like one of them might be produced by Metro. I'm gonna look that up. But yeah, and then what was after that?
So after that, Ice Attack was Type Shit. To me, that was just they put the foot on the gas. That instrumental with the church bells was just brooding and just dark. And
Low Life is Metro.
It is, yeah. Okay, Low Life is Metro, and Coming Out Strong might be, but either way. So yeah, they all three have been on the same track, and it's a classic. So yeah, but yeah, Type Shit is out of here. I mean,
it had been teased for a while leading into the release. They did it. A week or two ago at Rolling Loud.
Yeah.
And, I think that really had the fans really, looking out for that one. So when I saw that on the track list, I was sure to circle back going into it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how big of a Cardi fan you are, but... Yeah, I feel like I can read that you're not the biggest, but for me, this is a crazy run for him, these features.
I was going to say, personally, I'm not the biggest Cardi guy, but... I also, at the same time, can't deny this little run that he's been on in 2024. Yeah. And Cardi himself, he's just been all gas so far. So I can't
honestly,
take that away.
Just opinions aside, I feel like we have to start talking about how big of a feature that's starting to be. He might not be as big of an artist as Future, as Kanye, as Travis, as The Weeknd, but he's been giving them hits Like, he is arguably the biggest song on Utopia, easily the biggest song on Vultures, and, like, he just has this, like, locked-in cult fan base that I'm a part of.
And I will give him his props, especially on this recent run. Like, he's been switching up his sound and his style and everything, which, like, props to him for, like, also showing kind of, like, dexterity within his lane.
Yeah, but, I think that Cardi feature starting to hold weight. I think that you just put the right names next to his and, like, it's out of here.
Sure.
And the song was also insane.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The synth work on this album, I think, was also really cool. Like, I thought I was hearing Mike Dean for a second, then I'd see the credits and it's just Metro. But
sidebar, I thought that the production, top to bottom from this album, was just chef's kiss.
Dean was on Young Metro.
Ah, got you. But he wasn't on Type Shit, which is where I wrote down when I was listening to it that synth work was out of here. But all right, so yeah, and I guess that also makes sense that Mike Dean was with the Weeknd song too. Mm-hmm. That's a cool world meetup there. Mike Dean, The Weeknd, Future, Metro. Yeah, it's nuts.
It's definitely one that I think I'll keep coming back to. But moving on through the track list, next we have Claustrophobic. I've liked the theme of the song.
Yeah.
I just thought the use of the word claustrophobic
is hilarious.
It was funny and like a little bit clunky. I was like, I like the idea of just like, okay, like, you know, I've hit these insane heights. Now my, 25,000 square foot mansion is too small.
Yeah.
I was like, pick a more catchy word.
It was so Future. Like, but yeah, I feel you. It definitely wasn't like a highlight. I thought it was just like, I added it to my playlist because it was good, but it wasn't like anything other than that.
I was gonna say, like, it's a good song, nothing too special. I did like the transition from Claustrophobic into the next track,
which
I mean, if you're a hip hop fan, unless you've been living under a rock, you already know where we're gonna go with this and this track was.
Yeah, no, I mean, before we even get into what we're all thinking about, like, that beat is just so menacing and, like, I don't want to say throwback because it's not, but it for some reason it gave me that kind of vibe. But, like, off rip, I was just like, this beat is something else. And then,
the beat, it did a really good job of setting that, just like that menacing tone that let both of the artists on the track do their thing. But at the same time, I really liked it. Had a good bounce to it that it really kept you in it. Now, the artists on that song, we had hidden features during this album. We got our first look at Kendrick Lamar this year.
I got Control flashbacks. As I heard him starting to talk the way he was talking, I was like, yo. I mean, and people called this too. I forget who it was, but, like, I remember seeing a couple people saying, like, Drake and Cole doing this whole, like, me and you thing is going to budge Kendrick to respond. I do think, though, it is important to mention that on First Person Shooter, Cole literally says they are the big three. But still, they are kind of doing this whole me and Drake are 1 and 2, though. But so I feel like it was kind of up in the air how this whole Drake and Cole relationship is to be interpreted. But obviously we have Kendrick's interpretation here, and it was crazy.
I mean, Drake and Cole they're wrapping up their tour together with the big three. One of the big three was not in that tour.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've been seeing, like, Kendrick is not as active usually as Drake and Cole. Even though Cole hasn't put out an album,
he's still in the mix, though.
He's always in the mix.
Yeah, he's doing features. He's on tour.
There were multiple Dreamville label-wide projects that came out over the past 2 years. So, like, I don't know. For me, it was awesome to see Kendrick get back in it. And this is also what I want from Kendrick. I want Kendrick to rap.
Yeah.
And we definitely got that on this feature.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was like, that shit was crazy. It was like, it's just like that animated West Coast flow. Like, I feel like, and honestly, the song I'm about to mention isn't really that West Coast. It's just great. But, like, I feel like we haven't heard him, like, rap with this much just, like, angst built up since, like, Black of the Berry almost. Like, I feel like he always has like passion and emotion in his songs, but I feel like you can always tell it's for the song. Like here, it sounded like he really just meant everything he was saying, and he was just like, "I'm not letting anything back."
I was almost getting some flashbacks to Family Ties with Baby Keem from this verse, where it's just that like I like Kendrick on this type of beat where it's just hard hitting. It's a more of a trap style beat, but Kendrick just raps. It's just all
I would say
his style.
Yeah, I would say that the difference between this and Family Ties for me though is Family Ties he's kind of just saying like watch out and rapping well, versus here he's like
he was taking direct shots
and like just like his voice just sounds different. Like he just sounds more like built up and like ready to like just ready to like punch someone and like that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like I haven't heard that in his voice since like 2015, and yeah, that was crazy. He's just like it just feels like he's in like a boxing match with the beat, and he's just like going and he can't stop.
For all your dogs getting buried, that's a K with the nines. You're gonna see the pet cemetery. That's how he ended the verse. That's a direct for all the dogs reference.
Yeah.
Like we're in this.
He had a first person shooter reference, and then some people were saying he had a stick reference, but I don't know if it really because like I'm sure Kendrick's aware of that song, the Dreamville song "Stick" with Kenny Mason, J. Cole, a couple other people. I'm sure he's aware of that song, but I don't know if it's that big to make it like a reference in the song.
If you walk around with that stick, it ain't Andre 3K. Think I won't drop the location. I still got PTSD.
Yeah. I don't know. But the first person shooter is that's obviously. Yes. I mean, that was the number one song in the country. Like, everyone knows that song.
Well, yeah,
so
literally.
You say it like that in this verse.
Sneak dissing, first person shooter. I hope they came with three. He lets you know. There's no subliminals in this. If you think he's dissing someone, he's dissing someone.
Yeah.
And honestly, the rap game hasn't really had that in a while, and especially from someone as notable and from that pedestal. I think it's really good that we're kind of injecting that competitive spirit back into hip hop.
I would say though that obviously crazy song. I would say for Slimed In and Magic Don Juan, I kind of categorize them as like not horrible, but nothing special. Like another one where it's like good, but nothing more than that. But I would say that the second half, though, of Magic Don Juan, that is on a whole different level.
The Princess Diana half of
Don
Juan, Princess Diana. There's that, we saw it in Ice Attack, that beat switch halfway through. Ooh, it was like they were coasting at first, and then they had a green light that just said, like, there's no speed limit, and they went for it, and I think they hit on that one.
Yeah, they lane switched onto the highway. Like, it was such a, like, I'm not going to say I was getting bored, but Magic Don Juan, I was like, okay, like, this is just what I expect to hear.
Sure, and even just structurally in the Magic Don Juan sign, I noticed that, like, there were two choruses, one verse, and the hooks were as long as the verse.
Yeah.
So it was like, it felt a little bit repetitive, and it was going on. But when they knew they had to, switch something up, and they did, and they really, brought the intensity on that second half.
Yeah, no, that was that second half is like so clear of the first half of that song, and I would say Slimed In before it. And then there was a snippet for the next one, Cinderella, going around.
That was another snippet and Rolling Loud performance.
And I would say not disappointed at all. That was like the cloudiest track yet. It was kind of like a trap lullaby.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that Travis contribution, very nice, kept the song interesting.
Sure.
And it makes so much sense, too, to put him on the song that, like, feels the cloudiest and, like, the trippiest, because that's his sound.
I think that on that song, Cinderella, I really think that the Metro beat brought the best of both of them out.
Yeah.
Of Future and Travis. And I did really like on that song how Future and Travis, getting into the technical stuff, they kept the whole, like, levels, pedal.
Yeah.
Like, they kept the same rhyme scheme for both of their verses. So, as, like, a little nerd, that kind of
I know
tickled my fancy.
It feels like the song is, like, really like a moment. You know what I mean? Not just, like, a verse here, a verse there. I know what you mean.
It felt like the three of them locked in a room. They had that vibe, and they rode that wave.
Yeah. No, that was Cinderella. That was, like, that's just, like, a cruising song. You know what I mean?
Definitely a standout track that I think we'll be coming back to for a while.
For sure. And then Running Out of Time.
To me, this was the one kind of low. For me personally, it felt just like the attempt at the radio record, which that's fine. Personally, not for me.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's definitely not like my favorite on the album, but I think it's just a song you get lost in. Sure. I think it was kind of cool though, like kind of like how I was talking about how like Future's like rap supervillain. I feel like this was kind of like it kind of like gave the album like a little like story feel, because it's like it's like the first 9 songs, it's like he's on the run and now everything's starting to like catch up to him. Mm-hmm. And then the next song is just like he escaped, like as soon as it was all about to catch up to him, he escapes. That's how I'm talking about Fried. That song I feel like is like, I don't know, I feel like the fact that it came after Running Out of Time, I feel like was really cool. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like Running Out of Time is like, you know what I mean? He's slowing down, things are catching up to him, and then Fried, he's like, I got away from it all, and we're back.
It was a fun 1-2 punch of just. It was a cool just transition between tracks and just energy boost as well for it. I really liked Fried. It was that one had me bouncing around a bit.
Yeah, that's what the frats need to play. I'm tired of these DJs, man. Play some of this Future Metro, but. Yeah, and then Ain't No Love, I feel like it was kind of like, I feel like Fried was like the turn-up song for the girls, and then Ain't No Love was like the turn-up song for the guys. It was like, that was, I feel like the kind of like, I don't know, 2-sided EP we just got in the middle of the album. Both of them, I feel like, were just like hard-hitting beats, and Future just like skating over it. Like,
yes, I was going to say, definitely I noted I liked the production a lot on Ain't No Love.
Yeah, and then we were talking about this one earlier. Everyday Hustle is just like
another absolute standout track on this album. I think for several reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, first, just the beat work was crazy to me.
Insane.
Insane. You know, we get this kind of like soulful chopped sample from Metro, and it's very minimal. I mean, it's sample chops in like the beginning. And it's just the sample chops, kick, snare, and hi-hat. And it's just so simple and effective. It gives Future and Rick Ross, who is featured on this song, a really good canvas for them to both just, skate and do their thing.
Yeah, I think that, just hearing Future on this type of beat was so cool. Like, it was insane. Like, I feel like we have, it reminded me of this song he has with Mac Miller from, 2013 called Earth. But, besides that song, I feel like I can say with confidence I've never heard a Future song like this. And I was really, really happy.
Totally.
Yeah, and that Rick Ross feature, that whole, Devil in a New Dress type energy, it was just... And that bridge into the chop up at the end was
just in the song itself. So it goes, verse 1 is handled by Future. Then we go to Rick Ross for verse 2. Then it's the same sample, but Metro, he switches it up a bit. Yeah. And he does a boom, 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 with the sample itself. Like
a Good Morning type of thing.
Yeah, which you wouldn't really think to hear Future on that style, on that rhythm. And I thought he really handled it well.
Yeah.
It showed Future's, versatility as a rapper. He can get out of his muddy auto-tune lane that he's really carved for himself. And, he could come with some bars, and he did, especially on that third verse.
He's rapping, too. He's rapping. He's not just, you know what I mean? He's rapping. I feel like... That's the thing about this album is the songs just aren't boring. The songs, they don't let them get boring at all. And the one time it sort of started to get boring for me, they gave me a beat switch. It's just, the songs just, they I feel like Metro just, he has, I feel like a lot of artists, they start making music for themselves, and that's fine. Obviously, you're supposed to make music for yourself. And if you make music for other people, then you're not going to know what you're making anymore. You're going to get lost. But, I feel like Metro just has this ear of, he knows what fans are going to start to think, and then he gives us what we want. It's just, I don't know. Like
he's on
just,
top of the pulse. Like
yeah, like he's just really good at like that ear candy type of production where it's like he'll have his idea and then he'll build on top of it like what he knows everyone's gonna go there for. So yeah, Everyday Hustle, that's like top 3 on the album for me.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I would say it's up there. Everyday Hustle, I would say, is top 3, and then I would say the other 2 I'm thinking of would probably be Like That and Type Shit, maybe Fried, but I think those are like my highlights so far.
I was gonna say, so far my highlights are definitely Like That. You could throw Type Shit in there.
Cinderella's great too, and the first 2 and Cinderella. I mean, this whole album's so good, man. Like it's like this album's crazy. Like I'm gonna be listening to this so much.
Oh yeah. Then moving on, we have GTA, which I think that's just, for me, it wasn't anything special, but
that's fair.
I think because it was just like Future and Metro doing what they both do best. So like it just felt like a really comfortable track. They didn't, go too far with experimentation with the, vocal style or production style. But hey, at the same time, they didn't need to.
Yeah. I mean, you don't. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I like how they kind of like pulled out all the stops for a lot of songs on here, but like you don't need to do that for every song.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was just. I think this is like the darkest kind of song of them all. Like it was.
I was gonna say this is like the muddy track of this album.
And I mean it was great. Like it was just what it was like. I would say. Yeah, no, I would say with GTA, Seen It All, like for the rest of the album, I feel like from GTA on, I'm just getting like what I'm expecting in a great Future song. Which is fine. If you do that for 4 songs on a 17-song album, that's fine. I'm still going to listen to those.
Literally, my note for Seen It All is it's the best of Metro bringing out the best of Future.
Exactly. Like, it's just the rest of the album from GTA on, just what I look for in a great Future song. And I think Where My Twin At was a nice, like, little...
It was a great way
Thug,
to conclude the album.
Just like a nice little chill cut that you put on, But yeah, I was like, I don't know if you have anything to say about the last 4, but I feel like they all kind of blended together.
No, yeah, the last 4 were definitely, I think, your most, like...
Typical,
what you think is going to be what you're going to get with them.
And it was good.
Yes. They weren't missing on those
really good.
4 at all. And I think it really ended with a high note with Where My Twin At. It was a good way to, I think... bring that whole collective together. Because, I mean, Young Thug and Metro have had a long historied relationship, so it was a nice call.
I will say, though, like, all due respect, free Thug if he didn't do it. But, or didn't do them. I don't know. I don't even know what we say anymore.
Innocent until proven guilty.
But yeah, innocent until proven guilty, free Thug. But, I mean, I've been saying this for years, you know what I mean? Like, I think Future is just so far ahead of Thug, in my opinion. Honestly, I feel like, okay, so, like, Big 3 is, obviously, as we've been reminded multiple times this school year, I'll say, because For All the Dogs was last year, technically. But as we were reminded, like, Big 3 is Drake, Cole, Kendrick. But I feel like it's fair to say Big 5 is Future, Thug, and those 3. And I would say that Future and Cole are like the only ones that are kind of like moving with the like sound nicely. Kendrick is still making good music, but like I feel like Future and Cole are like progressing with the way rap is moving so nicely.
Yeah.
In ways that I don't think Drake. I mean, Thug is like, because I love Young Thug. Like I don't like making it seem like Thug is like ass or anything, but like I think Future and Cole are like they're just getting better. I think is my point. Like, everyone else, I feel like I'm just getting great music from them, and that's fine. But, like, the Future and Cole, I feel like are actually getting better with time right now, which is crazy how old they are.
Yeah, that's it, like, especially with Future, where I feel like, his lane of hip-hop can get a little bit repetitive.
Yeah.
They can all blend and sound together the same. But this album did a great job of... really like just keeping it current.
Yeah.
And I mean, props to Future props to Metro for giving
Yeah.
Future the soundscapes to really excel and make a good album.
Yeah, no, this was, like I said, this was great. Like we both said, probably not gonna be like as many hit songs as there were on I Never Liked You. I Never Liked You, honestly, I think was a little more inconsistent, but it had more hit songs. This, I think, is just like as consistent as you're gonna get when it comes to Future. Like, and I don't mean that as if he's not consistent. Like he has multiple 10s in my book, but yeah, this is just front to back. Like, I could play this whole album not skipping a track and I'd have a good time.
Sure. No,
Like,
this could be the backdrop for your workout. This could be the backdrop for your function on Friday night. This could be the backdrop for your late night drive through the city.
Yeah.
It's a versatile album that has a lot of application and a lot of replay value, I think.
Yeah, no, that was a ride. I'm gonna be spinning this for a minute. But should we head over to our bracket for today?
Sticking with the theme of these rapper-producer combo albums, we made a little tournament bracket of our own featuring some of our favorite albums that pair a producer and a rapper together. Now, technically, the list was hard to make. We had a few, fringe albums that were close, but to qualify for this list, the album had to be produced top to bottom by, a producer paired with the rapper. So, for instance, Not All Heroes Wear Capes by Metro from 2023 didn't qualify. Although the album was entirely produced by Metro, there was a different roster of rappers that were coming through across the tracks.
And same way, vice versa. Like, if it's, you know what I mean? Even if it's 8 out of 9 tracks are one producer, if it's not top to bottom one producer, we didn't include it. Right now I'm thinking about Meet the Woo, Pop Smoke.
Yeah.
I was devastated. I thought that was all 808 Mellow. And then I found out my favorite song on that tape, PTSD, is not 808 Mellow. But just know I would have been rooting for that one. But anyway,
So
let's show the people what we came up with.
get into our bracket. So, our bracket, our albums, we have Savage Mode 2 by 21 Savage and Metro.
Yes, sir.
Moment of Truth by Gangstar, produced by DJ Premier, rapped over by Guru. King's Disease 1 by Nas and Hit-Boy. Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist. Daytona by Kanye and Pusha T. License to Ill by the Beastie Boys, produced by none other than Rick Rubin. Mad Villainy, classic combo of Madlib and MF Doom. And rounding it out, we have Doggy Style. Now, to be fair, when we made this list, random seeds, there is no bias based on the different albums. So yeah, we just threw it into a random number generator, and that's how we got our seating for this. Seating.
Yeah, no hard feelings towards what's against what in terms of the first couple rounds. Just a roll of the dice. But we want to start with top left, Savage Mode 2 and Moment of Truth.
Top left, we have Savage Mode 2 and Moment of Truth. Personally, for me, I gotta give it to Moment of Truth. Yeah. I think that DJ Premier is one of the greatest, if not greatest, hip-hop producers of all time.
100%.
And just across his discography, which has been going on for over 30 years, this is the album, I think, that he really just figured it out. Like, this is where you get just that, the best primo sampling. He has this really distinct style with his drums that comes out around 1996, 1997, that can be heard across his music. And this, like I said, this is the album where he just, all of these different puzzle pieces of his sampling style, his bouncy drums, that, like, his hi-hats sound heavy, but the kicks are just like, it bounces and gives it all life. It all comes together so well on this album. And nothing against Savage Mode 2. This is another great album produced by Metro Boomin, but I personally got to give it to DJ Premier.
Yeah, nah, and I'm with you. The thing is, I'd be lying out my ass if I said that I listen to Moment of Truth more than Savage Mode 2. All right, I am a hype beast. I am 18 years old. All right, I love Savage Mode 2, but Moment of Truth is just more iconic, I would say, and it is just a phenomenal album. I think that 21 has better albums. I think that, maybe if we were dealing with a Without Warning, I might be giving a little more pushback. Or this isn't a producer album, but just talking about 21, I Am Greater Than I Was. Those types of albums, I'll throw against the Titans, but I'm completely fine with giving Primo the go ahead with Guru and putting him on to the next round.
All right, so Moment of Truth beats out Savage Mode 2 in the first round. Now, Moment of Truth will be going up against the winner of King's Disease and Alfredo. This is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I love both of these albums so much. This is that quarantine boom bap. Mm-hmm. Even though Alfredo isn't really boom bap, it's more jazz rap, but I love both of these albums so much for so many different reasons too.
Again, for me, Alfredo for me is like the Alchemist settling into his modern run that he's been on.
Yeah.
Like this is his album of really getting comfortable with.
It's his trophy piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then King's Disease is this first link that we've seen between Hit Boy and Nas that put them on this crazy run that they've been on for the past, 3.5 years. It's a matter of, I think, comfort and execution of a particular sound, or with Alfredo. But then with King's Disease, sound-wise, it's a little bit more all over the place. But because it gives Nas a chance to be more experimental and come out of his shell.
Yeah, I think that's that's one of the things I love about King's Disease 1 so much is you're seeing him collab with people like Lil Durk, Fabio Foreign, and he's doing it well. I think it was the second King's Disease. You did see him tap into that modern sound again with A Boogie and a couple others if I'm remembering right, But it's done so well on King's Disease to a point that I don't think any of the other matches. And then he's also, still on his typical sound that he, obviously does insanely well. But you know what I mean? That song with Anderson .Paak, All Bad, was spinning for me all August. But yeah, Alfredo is also, I would say, so the thing about the last round, right, is it's like, I listen to Savage Mode 2 more, but also I'm just not really listening to 90s rap a lot because it doesn't fit my soundtrack, I guess. So they're not on level playing field in my bias, is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. These, I feel like, are on a level playing field in my circle of bias.
Of
I
course.
feel like
These are two very well done contemporary hip hop albums.
They were released the same year. I am as equal a Freddie Gibbs fan as I am a Nas fan, as crazy as that might sound to some people, I am. And so I really think it just, for me, comes down to which one I listen to more, and that's Alfredo by far. King's Disease, I love it as a moment, and it was the start of this reborn Nas sort of thing. The Lost Tapes was received okay. It wasn't horrible, but then
I thought it was the perfect follow-up to Lost Tapes.
But yeah, this was really when I feel like Nas was just he just started to carve out this new run that he's on that eventually, got him his first Grammy in this decade, which is crazy. But yeah, I listen to Alfredo more.
I'm with Alfredo.
And I love it. It's an album that I still play. I have it on vinyl. I'm going with Alfredo.
I think just the highs are a bit higher from Alfredo.
100%. King's Disease is consistent, but Alfredo is more showy, and it does it well. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to the right side of our bracket, we have Daytona versus License to Ill. It's going to be interesting.
All respect to the Beastie Boys, but I am a Beastie Boys hater.
Oh, he's a hater now.
I love Rick Rubin. Beastie Boys, I understand what they did, for music, but I'd rather listen to Run DMC. I love Rick Rubin, but Daytona is just like, the fact that album is 8 songs is crazy to me.
Very concise.
Is it 8 or 7? Am I crazy?
It's a 7.
7? Yeah.
For context, this is one of the 7-track all Kanye produced albums that came out in 2020.
That Nas was a part of, funny enough.
Yes.
And that Nas album was not even that good, but it had good songs on it. But anyway, not to get off track.
But no, yes. So this is Pusha T rapping over all Kanye production for 7 tracks. Personally, I never really got that far into this album.
Ooh.
But it is one that I always
missing out, man.
have been meaning to come back to more and more. But I can give it to Daytona. I see how it's more contemporary, contemporarily important.
More contemporarily important, and it's just musically insane. And Pusha T is just like rapping at his best, in my opinion. I mean, I know obviously Clips was an iconic era, but like I said, the fact that this album is 7 songs is ridiculous to me. It feels like a movie. Like, it's 21 minutes, and I feel like I'm there for an hour by the time I'm done with it.
And that's the big distinction why I'm really cool with giving it to Daytona, because Daytona feels like a movie and License to Ill feels like a frat party.
Yeah.
Which, it's cool. That's got its time and place.
We've been to both, but...
Exactly. You know?
But yeah. Yeah, Daytona takes it for me. I'm glad you see the vision.
Yes, we'll give it to Daytona. Now for the final quarter of our bracket. This one is, oh my goodness, Mad Villainy versus Doggy Style. So we have Mad Villainy, the combo of Mad Villain and MF Doom. Then Doggy Style, the combination of Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre.
You mean Madlib? You said Mad Villain.
Oh, yes.
But I know what you mean. Yeah. But I don't even know where to start with this one. Like, I mean, Doggy Style is obviously the more popular album. Like, we all know this.
It broke all of the records when it came out.
It's the more like culturally iconic album for sure.
It's more recognizable. Yeah. Snoop Dogg. I mean, this is what.
This is Snoop Dogg. Like, this is Snoop Dogg. Like, point blank period. It is Snoop Dogg. But, I mean, just on a nerd out level, Mad Villainy is up there with Doggy Style.
Oh my, yeah.
It's not like Doggy Style knocks it out the park. I mean, like I said, obviously popularity wise, like, I mean, it has Gin and Juice on it. Like, you can't.
Gin and Juice. What's my name?
Yeah.
The Shiznit. But then I've been going back to Doggy Style more and more recently, and the deep cuts on that album are that's what keeps driving me back. Friggin' G's and Hustlers, just the sample on that is just so funky, and it's not the best written raps. Of course, you're gonna get that more with Mad Villainy and MF Doom. That guy is an absolute wizard.
Yeah.
This is another case of just, it's really what your vibe is, I think. Because you're going to get that brainiac, 4 bars rhymes with each other in Mad Villainy.
Yeah.
But then you get Doggy Style where it's like, oh, this is like the groove.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's just I'm trying to be as straight as I can, because like I said, obviously Doggy Style is culturally a way bigger moment. But Mad Villainy is just it's just one of those albums you get, like, when you first listen to it, like, you're still listening to it, like, a year and a half later. Sure. Like, it's one of those albums where, like, you keep finding something when you go back. Versus Doggy Style, it's kind of like you just go for it for what you love. You go to it for what you love.
Exactly.
And you have such a good time. Like, and I feel like that's what's, like, making me lean towards Doggy Style, is, like, I just get so happy when I hear that album.
I was going to say, for me, it's supreme hip-hop or supreme vibe, and especially when it's the combination of rapper and producer working together to, if they both are firing on all cylinders and they hit it together, I think you get that Supreme vibe done to the highest degree, which I think is Doggy Style. And for me, I think Doggy Style might take it.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it connects with more people, which, you know what I mean? Like, and I get that Mad Villain, you know, and in general, MF Doom is an acquired taste, but I feel like that does count for something. The fact that it's just, you know, like, kids are still listening to it to this day.
Kids are still listening to it today, and then I would be remiss. I haven't shut up about it since I heard. Apparently this year we're getting Doggy Style 2 Missionary. Like, I wish I'm making it up. I wish I could make that up.
That sounds like a time.
But Snoop and Dre have both been on the record saying to watch out for that, so.
Missionary. Missionary by Snoop Lion, coming soon.
So we're giving it to Doggy Style as we move on to the semifinals. On the left side of our bracket, we have Moment of Truth versus Alfredo.
First rounds, I feel like I paid my dues to, you know, the subgenres that I don't listen, or the eras that I don't listen to as much. You know, I still enjoy it, but, you know, I feel like I can't, even if I'm trying to be objective, I really think I can make an argument for Alfredo being what I think it is, which is better than Moment of Truth. I mean, Alchemist is legendary. Freddie Gibbs, this comeback, not necessarily comeback, but I mean, his, I guess, I don't know what the word is, but like prevalence. I don't know, just the fact that he stayed in the game so long at the level he was at. You know, like he didn't. Most people, especially like where he was, like 2011, 2012. You know, it feels like, all right, you've tried and you're done. But then the fact that 8 years later, you know, he's still coming with albums like this, I think it's just like, and it's just such a good album. And that's my case for Alfredo. But
I was gonna say, I mean, even like prevalence, I mean, he took what he was doing and he took it a step up. I think by linking with The Alchemist. I personally, I think everything that Al touches turns to gold.
100%. Yeah, no question.
I love you, Premier. You're the GOAT. But I can give it to Alfredo on this one.
Yeah, and all love to DJ Premier. I love DJ Premier. He's still going crazy, honestly.
Oh my God.
He's like he hasn't held up the gas either, but yeah, Alfredo's just one of those ones for me, and yeah, we'll see in the next round. What we got next?
To the next side of the semis, we have Daytona versus Doggy Style.
Ooh. I feel like this is the same situation for me.
It's similar with Savage Mode and Moment of Truth.
No, similar to Alfredo and Moment of Truth.
Sure.
In the way that, but I'm a little less biased for this because I genuinely do love Doggy Style and I listen to it a lot. Moment of Truth is more like an album that I just know about and I've listened to, and I just refreshed last night because I was like, let me just make sure I'm not talking out my ass. And like, but this, I feel like I'm less biased because I do love both albums a lot. But I don't know where your feet are right now.
I'm so biased. I mean, I love Dr. Dre production. This is also, like, for me, Doggy Style is, like, in Dre's discography, the album where he kind of really, like, figured out that G-Funk sound.
Oh, 100%.
Of just, you know.
I'm down to say that, yeah.
The slick beats with the smooth synth that, like, and the dark bass too that kind of just grumbles, but like there's that little synth line that just floats above and keeps it so nice.
It's GTA music. It's just like peak GTA music. Like that's just like, and it's before GTA was a thing. So yeah, it's such a huge cultural moment, both like sonically and just the fact that it's Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. Like, yeah, the more I think about it, I think it is Doggy Style, 100%.
For me, Doggy Style gets it simply because we talked about an album feeling like a movie versus feeling like a party.
Yeah.
Doggy Style's both.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, Doggy Style's both. That's a great point.
That's how I view that album. It is just a cinematic party. When I listen to Doggy Style, that is how I want every function that I'm ever at to like operate.
Yeah, and feel like I know exactly what you mean.
For me, it's
Yeah.
got to go to Doggy Style.
And all love to Daytona. Like, I love that album. I could literally rap that album word for word. Like, the album. I'm not talking about a song. I could rap that album word for word, top to bottom. But, like, yeah, Doggy Style takes it. It's just too good and too iconic. Yeah.
So now Doggy Style moves on to the final, going off against Alfredo.
That's our final. Doggy Style Alfredo.
These are two crazy
Yeah.
albums that are so different. It was really a coin flip. How do you go? Because it's so
Yeah.
it's so different. Because it's now we break it down again with like these are two incredibly cinematic albums.
Mhm.
Now Alfredo is a cinematic where it's like I feel like I'm in like a dark, smoky room and
Some,
it's just
like,
like
mob boss music.
yeah, like I'm playing cards to Alfredo.
Yeah, and winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Doggy Style, I'm in a smoky basement with a red Solo cup and the lights
Yeah.
are cool and I'm surrounded by a bunch of people and it's just groovy. So
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah, I mean, like,
a coin flip.
I feel like this is honestly it. Like, this is tough, cause yeah, and I feel like I've just kind of been glazing Alfredo without really saying why I like it this whole episode. Like, I feel like the thing about Alfredo is it just feels like such a big moment. Like, in the like I kind of briefly mentioned earlier. Like, it's like I feel like, the Alchemist sort of like trophy piece.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like, it's Grammy nominated. And I feel like but it's also Freddie Gibbs' trophy piece. I feel like it's both of them kind of saying, like, look where we are.
It's both of their
Yeah.
almost like victory laps of
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You
And
really get the sense of like we made it with that.
and then just song for song, like, the features on this album are incredible.
I was gonna
Like,
say
the features on Alfredo,
Frank
I would say,
Lucas with Benny the Butcher before
Yeah.
the feud. Oh my god.
that duo was. I'm gonna miss that duo. Something
Yeah.
to rap about. I mean, like, yeah, Out of Here, Babies and Fools, like, that All of Me sequence throughout the whole song is just like perfect. It's just great rapping. Like, I don't know, man. I love that album so much. But then you could also make the argument, though, how I'm talking, and also I feel like I'll just mention all of the features because they all are great. Rick Ross on Scotty Beam is Out of Here. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you could also make the argument, though. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about how great the features are. There's not a single feature on here, I would say, besides maybe Nate Dogg, that makes you think it's not Snoop's song. You know what I mean? Like, Snoop is, like, on this album just going. Like, it is his album. I would say there's, like, 2 songs on Alfredo where it's not Freddie's song.
Sure.
And
That's an interesting
And I
way.
love the album.
Yeah.
But, if we're trying to make this argument of which is the best dynamic of producer and rapper, that could, give Doggy Style some points.
Doggy Style just gets the iconic Snoop and Dre points for me. And like there's the longevity of it, how it's been relevant for 30 years. We're getting the sequel for it 30 years later. Like that's how in demand.
People want it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how in demand that is.
Yeah, this isn't a mac and cheese 5 situation. I think that I think you can kind of tell we're both leaning towards Doggy Style, but I think it's all respect to Alfredo for being a masterpiece, but Doggy Style is just like, we've said what needs to be said. It's really hard to go against just how great of a dynamic, like we said, Snoop and Dre is. It's so iconic, and it didn't end after this album. That's the other thing we can also say.
Mm-hmm.
Alchemist and Freddie, I'm not remembering entirely well, but they had their moments after this, I think.
Yeah.
But Snoop and Dre was like, this is 93, and they went on for years with this sound that started with this album.
Mm-hmm.
And the album's amazing. It's a feel-good album. It's great rapping, great production. Yeah, I think we gotta go Doggy Style.
Doggy Style it is. The
All right.
mixtape March Madness bracket in the books.
Yes,
I think
sir.
you did a pretty good job.
I would say so. I think it was a lot of interesting old versus new,
Mhm.
relatively. old versus new matchups.
And it's fun to almost map out and just, see how different rappers and producers across eras have, taken the idea of locking in the studio for.
And how it used to be so common too. I feel like that's kind of the thing I've noticed is that like with the newer ones, it felt so much more special to me, but the older ones are so much more well done. And I feel like I kind of was like bouncing that in my head this whole time. I was like, yeah, but the older ones are just better. But the newer ones, it feels like such a moment because now it's so common for there to be 50 producers on an album. So it feels so nice and refreshing. But when you are really just talking about which is better, like that 90s era and early 2000s is something else.
At the end of the day, Snoop and Dre did it best.
Yeah.
Well, live from the Dick Clark Studios, we want to say thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
And
we appreciate you tuning in for more.
Indeed. We'll catch you soon. Have a good week.
Peace out.